So you guys remember that video I made a little while ago about Tails the Fox in sonic.exe, the disaster? I called him flawed and way too situational for a lot of instances and easily manipulatable. Well, as time has passed, I've started to regret some of the things I said. I still believe he is a flawed character, don't get me wrong on that part, but he isn't as flawed as I once thought him to be. While I still do believe he should be able to shoot through decoys because that's something every other character can deal with, every other thing I said in the video was sort of just me not liking the way he plays. But now that I've gotten better at him, I don't really feel all that way anymore. He's become a very fun and cool character to play now. He's got issues, but these issues can be easily dealt with most of the time. And despite everything, I think he's definitely a whole lot better than I originally thought. Which is why, after I realized that there was a chance he would be getting some changes in the new update, I was very ecstatic, because I thought these changes would make him better. And then I played 1.02, and realized, oh dear God, is he so much worse? This is why I'm gonna be making the video, because this just sucks. 1.02 Tails might be one of the worst experiences I've had playing this game at all. He is just so bad to the point that I don't really understand how anybody could enjoy playing him. Everything that was an issue with him has been turned up to the max, and things that were never changed just got worse because of it. So this video is going to be dedicated to talking about 1.02 Tails, and how he might be the worst character this game has to offer at the moment. You know what? Screw it, I'm not gonna do this editing thing that I've been doing. I'm just gonna show all the facts, because this character is just so bad to where I don't want to put effort into explaining why. Okay, so let's start off small, shall we? Okay, so for starters, the arm cannon now has a longer cooldown of 26 seconds instead of 21. Now, the reason why I'm upset about this is strictly because the arm cannon had the shortest cooldown of any stun in the game. The whole point of the arm cannon was that it was an ability that was difficult to land, but if you could land it, it could be a lifesaver. And the things that you could use it more frequently, which was good because it allowed you to practice. By having such a short cooldown on a really difficult ability to land, it insinuated practice. It made practice easier. And now, the cooldown is 26 seconds. It may not seem like a lot, but I have encountered so many times to where it actually became an issue. I mean, that's a whole 5 seconds worth of time. And in a game like this, to where the Sonic has the ability to cross the map in less than a minute, he can cross every map in less than a minute. 5 seconds matters. But that's not the only thing that was changed with him too. Now, Glide has been improved. Now you may be wondering, why would anybody complain about something like that? And it's the thing is that it's not that I don't like the changes to Glide, it's simply that when you make a character super fast but not very strong, and you continue making that character faster and faster, and less strong. Because think about it. Tails has been getting weaker and weaker in terms of what he can do with his arm cannon, but his glide has gotten stronger and stronger with every update. It used to be he could only glide down, and then he had control over if he moved up or down, and now it's he can move so fast with his glide that there's not really much of a need to use the arm cannon. You can keep yourself safe longer with the glide than you can with the arm cannon, because every single time you nerf something, or buffs something, it indirectly buffs and nerfs the other ability in a character's kit. Every single time, with any game at all. When you buff something, it indirectly buffs and nerfs the things around it. Although, even if Glide didn't have any changes, the changes made to the arm cannon were already enough to screw it over. Not only does the arm cannon have a longer cooldown, but it also now takes longer, considerably longer, for the thing to charge up. Originally, when I first saw the charge effect in sonic.exe Disaster, in some of the teasers, I originally thought it was going to be some sort of special ability. And then somebody told me it was strictly cosmetic. And you know, I'm completely fine with that. Because the truth of the matter is that I didn't think Tails needed any changes besides the whole decoy thing. But then I realized when I played it, it isn't a buff, it isn't cosmetic, it is a nerf. It now takes the arm cannon longer to charge up now. And may I just say, why? Why would you want to? Nobody complained about this. Nobody complained about its cooldown or the fact that the Tails could instantly stun somebody. That was the whole point of the gun having a charge up in the first place. You can hear the gun charging up as Sonic and know you need to defend yourself. So why would you have this? Tails didn't need this type of nerf. He didn't need to take longer to actually be able to use his ability, because his ability already had increased penalties in the first place, that being the fact that it was incredibly difficult to shoot. Even if you were an experienced Tails player, you still wouldn't even be able to absolutely destroy the EXE, because the problem still remains that he is flawed in some ways. But guess what? Now there is actually a penalty for using the arm cannon. You get a penalty for using the ability that is supposed to save you. An ability that's already so difficult to use. And you wanna know what it is? You can't run while using it. The whole point of slowing down while the arm cannon was charged up was so that way you couldn't do things that could be seen as unfair. But why in the fresh hell do you need to make him move slower while charging it up? It just means that Tails is completely helpless to being grabbed, to being charged, to being hit in general. The whole point of it was that you need to use the ability the second you get the chance to. But now, you have to worry about using the ability at all. It's significantly more difficult to deal with in terms of self-defense, because what exactly are you supposed to do in a situation like this? Not to mention the fact that he can no longer jump while charging up the arm cannon. And you want to know why this is an issue? Well, there's actually two reasons. Reason one, if you are in a situation where you need to use Glide and use the arm cannon, you're screwed. You used to be able to charge it up, jump, fly, and have some sort of form of self-defense in that aspect. With the arm cannon, now, you are physically unable to jump from one place to another. And it's just, why? Why do you need to make him as vulnerable as possible while using an already difficult to use ability in the first place? And the funny thing is that Amy now has the ability to move while using her hammer throw, which means she's more mobile now. And it's so upsetting when you have this character who already was somewhat flawed in certain aspects, and you're hoping that they'll get better, or at least stay the same, and then they just get worse. Now, for reason number two, the trick shot part of it. Anybody that has watched the YouTubers Uranus and Lucky Doggo know what I'm talking about? Their videos where they would use the arm cannon in self-defense and jump around and then land these cool trick shots were really fun to watch. They were really fun to watch because of how much skill it took. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is simply put, those were cool. Those were cool things to watch. I wanted to try and get better at Tails and do things like that. And now, I no longer have that option. And the reason why that sucks is simply put, now Tails has less options for what he can do. Once you get good at actually landing shots, there's now nothing else for you to do. There's no getting better with trick shotting now when it comes to jumping around, because that option is no longer available. So not only is Tails now harder to use, but even if you somehow get used to using him, he's more boring. He's more simple. He's less fun. And now onto my next reason. The camera change. It sucks balls. The crosshair is a lie. Don't believe me? Let me show you this clip. Was I gonna hit that anyways? No, the Sonic was turning around. But the thing is that even if he didn't turn around, there's still a very good chance I would have not shot him because of the stupid crosshair. I think a lot of people out there can agree with me that shooting from the center of the screen is always better than shooting with a crosshair that comes from the side. That's probably why everybody enjoys using the original in TF2. You know, besides all the penis jokes. And that's all the changes made to Tails that significantly make him worse. But despite that, we're not done yet, because there's a couple of abilities that the Sonics and 2 other characters specifically have that I want to talk about. So the first one is pretty simple. It's Amy. She has ranged ability now, and she can move, which means she's more mobile than usual. So yeah, that's it. There isn't really a whole lot to her. But the other character I want to focus on is Rouge. Rouge got quite a lot of updates, and apart from Amy, was pretty much the highlight of this update, because, you know, Little Sonic and Big Sonic weren't really teased together back when the new changes were being made. More specifically, I want to focus on her stun grenade and her sensors. So let's do the stun grenade first. There's nothing wrong with the stun grenade. It is a pretty well-made ability. I do think it should have maybe a slightly longer cooldown, but besides that, I think it's a well fine-tuned and a really cool ability. But there is a problem with it. You see, one thing that made Tails good was that he could always sort of attack an enemy after said enemy has already been stunned, so he could keep them stunned for longer at a safe distance. All he needed to do was have good timing, and of course, you know, basic aim. And that's the thing, is that the whole aim issue with Tails' arm cannon was pretty much nullified because of that. But then you add the whole, her ability isn't necessarily a stun. Her ability cannot save to grab teammates, but what it can do is that it can help keep the Sonic down for longer when he's stunned, because since the ability isn't a stun, you don't have to worry about timing. You can just stick it down right after the enemy gets stunned, and boom, he still can't get to you. But of course, everybody knows that Tails and Amy was the best at doing that. And I'd go on to say that, no, Rouge is not the best at doing that. So once again, there's another thing that's better than Tails. So now I want to talk about the 2 Sonics. Big Sonic's charge isn't really all that dangerous if he's heading straight for you, but it can be difficult to actually learn to hit while he's charging, unless he's coming directly towards you. I'm more interested in block. Due to how loud the arm cannon is, and the noise it makes before Tails actually gets the option to turn around and shoot you, you have plenty of time to use the block ability. Even if the Tails manages to hit you, you really don't have to worry. And I'm gonna be honest, that's not really that big of an issue for me, because block is mostly going to be used to defend themselves from Amy players and Eggman players. Most of the time, you're not going to be in a situation where the Sonic is going to use the block on you. But there is that occasional time when you're playing and the Sonic will block right as they're getting hit by a Knuckles, and then you shoot them, and then they end up taking the block. I could see how that could be annoying, but that hasn't really happened to me yet. What I want to focus more on is Little Sonic. I don't really care about the teleportation ability. Despite what it may sound like, it's not really that much of a detriment to Tails. What I want to talk about is invisibility. So, you may have noticed that I didn't talk about Rouge's sensors, and that's simply because I wanted to save them for later, for talking about Little Sonic. You can now no longer see Sonic while invisible. but rather how it works is that you see his general area. While invisible, there will be a little arrow that shows where he is, but it will never show specifically where he is. Why? When playing Tails, you need to be specific. Isn't the whole point that Rouge and Tails had good synergy with each other? So why would you remove this? Not to mention the fact that invisibility also allows Sonic to attack much faster when he actually turns uninvisible. As if he didn't have enough issues to deal with, now he has to worry about instantly getting hit the second the Sonic goes visible. But that's not the only thing. There's still one more thing I haven't talked about, and that's the decoys. The stupid decoys. There's now more of them. He can now hold a total of 4 of them instead of 3. And despite the fact that they can't be destroyed, they still have a hitbox, and Tails still can't shoot through them. Why? Why the hell would you not allow them to shoot through it? Because it's not there. It can't be destroyed. Why does it matter? Why isn't that an option? This character is so shitty. So goddamn awful. Word of advice: don't play 1.2 Tails. You're not gonna have fun. I can tell you that right now. Goodbye.